What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Seraph by Dreadbit. Wait, you might be saying, did you not already look at Seraph? Yeah, I kinda did. I did an Indie Insight video on this game, which was my, usual blind, or mostly blind, first impressions of a thing. I kinda want to give you a full first impressions now. Since I did that Indie Insight, I played a bunch of this game. Steam reckons about 7 hours of this game so far total. This game's really grabbed me, and I think it's really cool, and I think it's worth taking another look at so that I can, properly assess it. So, yeah, we're going to return to Seraph. This is a acrobatic, platformy, shootery thing where you don't have to aim the guns. Your entire emphasis is just on dodging the enemies and, for the most part, holding down the trigger and shooting at everything. You will be judged on your accuracy as well, so you don't want to hold down the trigger all the time, but yeah, you get the gist of it. In the options menu, we'll have a quick look at this. I mean, obviously I didn't have a lot of context for this last time, but you have obviously got controller vibrations and language options there. Under video, it's still lacking. I said it was a little bit lacking last time. It's still kind of lacking. Resolution options are good because you even have control over the frame rate here, which is pretty nice. But at the same time, there's nothing to actually change the quality of the visual effects. And, when the game's getting pretty hectic, there's a lot of enemies shooting a lot of things, a lot of particles, lots of stuff going on. I don't know how well it handles up on a lower-end machine, but I imagine some people may potentially run into difficulties with that. I could be wrong. Maybe this game is superbly optimized across the board, but it would be nice to be able to be like, maybe you could turn down some of those graphical effects for people who are running on potatoes, because there's plenty of people out there who like to play their games on a potato. I'm not, though. It's running at a smooth 120, but that's okay, so I can't judge. Gamma, I had it set to where it was recommended before, and as was observed in the comments, it was really, really dark. I would knock it up like a notch, maybe 2 if you're really feeling generous, but knock it up a notch above where it recommends, because you just kind of can't see where you're going a lot of the time. That does kind of impede gameplay. You're like, I can escape over here, and you'll just run straight into a wall that merged seamlessly with the background. And it's only if you up the gamma you can actually notice and you'll be like, oh, there's a wall here, and that's a background. They are visibly different now. Because, I feel like it's pretty useful in a game about evading your enemies to be able to know where you can evade to and where you cannot evade to. If the wall is black on a black background, like Hot Black Desiato's stunt ship, then, yeah, you're gonna have trouble with that. So, yeah, knock it up a notch. Bam. Audio, sound effects and music, separate sliders, those are good. Controls on gamepad and keyboard, both rebindable, that is good. And credits are credits, those are not options. So we have play, we have a few things. I didn't really look into these stuff before. Your codex, kind of like your bestiary and a bit of story stuff. You'll pick up story logs as you go along, so they all kind of get logged in here for you to read through as you go along if you kind of fancy digging into the story and the lore, as it were. Or you can just ignore it if you don't really care about the story and just want to shoot demons. And then there's a bit of information about what you're going to be fighting and some of their abilities and stuff in case you want to really sort of learn them. And some high-res models of the demons. They're pretty gross when you look at them up close, high-res. Yeah, glad we don't see them in that much detail most of the time because they're pretty horrible. They are demons after all, though, I suppose. What do you expect? We have challenges. Challenges are a pretty interesting thing, and actually I would say a fairly integral part of the thing. I'm going to continue on with my game, actually, and I'll show you some gameplay, but then we'll go back and have a look at those, because I think those are very important, and we skipped over those last time in favour of focusing on the gameplay. And since I've already kind of shown off the gameplay to some extent, we probably won't dwell on this too long, but suffice to say, we are on to, I think, a little bit further on. So we have some story. I'd forgotten this was a thing. I've been playing a lot of survival mode, which actually kind of doesn't have the story. So here we are. I confess I actually haven't made that much progress through the story mode. The daily and weekly challenges have rather kept me fairly well occupied in this game. So we can run, or we can double jump. We've kind of got a blink. We get 2 of those. There, you can see the recharging up top. That gives us a bunch of crafting materials and a new log entry, which is good. Those blue things are important crafting materials we're going to need to make upgrades to ourselves. And you can see I have a ring of protection up top. That's some equipment that we can get out of chests. That one's going to give me... Actually, that one's just going to give me health. You can get other ones that protect you from different types of damage, but I like a lot of health. Seems to be the best way to go. Just tank everything. Try to avoid everything and tank it if you can't avoid it. Admittedly, actually, I think because I've advanced my character so much in the game's other progressions, that actually I'm way too powerful for this zone, and I'm just going to kind of stampede through it because I'm dealing a lot more damage than I should. I have upgraded weapons, I have upgraded miracles, I have upgraded abilities, and they're just kind of going to destroy a lot of the demons around here, so I'm kind of going to cakewalk this if I'm honest. And also in survival mode, the survival mode is basically a glorified rerun of the campaign for some replay value. But yeah, it cuts out the story mode, and I've made a lot more progress in that than I have here, to be fair. So as we head on through the level, we'll hopefully collect some stuff we can use elsewhere, because the progression, as I mentioned with the challenge modes, is the progression is carried across all modes, all the stories, all the replays. If I was to start a new game, I would keep on my character progression. They specifically say, and I made point of highlighting this before, they specifically say that they make a big deal about highlighting the fact that the game is not a roguelike, but the progression has a lot of roguelike kind of similarities going on, which is where people might draw the comparison. If you die, certainly during story mode at any rate, you can have a do-over. I've kind of got lives in the top corner. You can see I've got the kind of two sort of pips above my health bar there. They indicate 2 lives. If you die once, your health will be permanently reduced, well, at least for the duration of the level, until you finish the level. Until the end of the level, your health will be reduced by 1/3, your maximum health. If you die again, it'll be reduced by another 1/3, and you're going to struggle. And if you die a 3rd time, that's it. You're out. You're out of the game. Go back and do the level again, quite frankly. And because there are checkpoints on these, you can do the level again. That's no big deal. Okay, that guy's got Reflect on, so I probably shouldn't shoot him while he's purple. Noted. You can see the abilities that are above its head, because the enemies are all randomized to a certain degree, so you can kind of at a glance by looking at the symbols above the enemy's head, figure out which ones, which abilities they have. Because different bosses are gonna, you might get the same kind of boss in terms of, you know, figure, but they'll have different abilities and things, just to spice things up and keep things a bit different. So I could get that boss in another format, but he might not have the Reflect ability, he might just have something else going on. So in this instance, yeah, the objective was just to kill that guy and get to the exit. We can go around, we can hunt more demons, we can get more stuff, we can find more things, we can go collect more resources, which we're going to need. Collect more shards, they're going to allow us to put points into perks and things. If I collect more resources, we're going to be able to upgrade our equipment that we can find in chests. And so on and so forth. And that can then be used in challenges, that can be then used in survival mode, and anything I earn in survival mode. As I say, survival mode is just kind of a glorified campaign. It's campaign, but you only get 1 life, basically. It's when you're dead, you're dead. You get lives over the course of the level, but if you die 3 times in 1 level, that's it. Survival modes end, your scores get posted to a leaderboard, and that was your survival score. You can do it again. You can have multiple attempts at doing challenges for the week, but oh, there's a door. That's kind of a race thing. Gotta get to the unlocked door fast. Where is it? It's over here, I think. Where are you going? There we go. So we get a defensive thing there. Most levels, I think, seem to have it. I don't think every level has it, but quite a lot of levels seem to have a secret room. So I got a defense buff. It's usually got some stuff in there. So I got a sapphire coin, which has a little bit more durability than my ring. It's taken some damage, but it's, I don't know. I don't like it over the health, so I'm just going to scrap it for metal, frankly. We can get some of that. Revolvers are an awful weapon for me. I don't like the revolvers. We established that very early on. I'm going to turn that into metal. If you don't like things, you can just scrap it for metal, and that just becomes crafting resources. And that is my checkpoint. I can now restart from this level if I die completely. So you won't get that in survival mode at all. Blue chests have the Terminescence crafting components and usually a bit of ammunition for my weapon. My weapon in this case being the Assault Rifle Mark II. I'm not really needing the power weapons, to be honest here. Pistols are doing pretty fine. Did we get everything out of this level? Most things, I think. I think we're probably ready to leave. So yeah, we can head on out and then we can show you some of the crafting. So let us do that. Ascend to the next floor. Okay, we got a little bit more story, as we do, because this is, of course, the story mode. So there we go. A little bit of arguments between Seraph and Eva Nazari. I feel like I've heard that conversation before, but I don't know where, because I haven't played this far through the story yet. And I acquired 2 shard value. So we saw this before, we saw oaths. We have oaths here. That shard value, for every 3 shard value that you acquire from things in levels, you'll get these for killing significant enemies, for like your bosses and things. You'll get those for completing objectives, for doing sort of challenge rooms where you get locked in some rooms and you'll be forced to fight an arena battle. If you win, you'll get shards out of that. You get like 1 or 2 out of levels early on. And, well, you can see the progression. So 3 of those makes 1 Lithios shard. 9... if you combine 3 Lithios shards, makes 1 Photios, triple it again makes Talios, triple it again makes Kelios, triple it again makes Artios shards. These can then be slotted in here. If you just slot a white common shard in there, the Lithios shard in, you'll get a 2% bonus to SMG damage. If you slot a green one in, you'll get 4%, 6%, 8%, and 10% as you keep going. And this is true of all the different perks in the game. So when you're gaining 1 or 2 at a time, you can see the effective shard value. You need 243. In fact, that's 243 shard. Yeah, that's 243 pieces that you would need to pick up, because 1 Lithios shard is made of 3 pieces from a level. So 1 Artios shard is 243. That's a lot of levels. That is a lot of levels. As you progress, certainly as difficulty increases, as you get further through levels, I found some of the later-ish levels, I think, give you maybe 20 to 30 shards, which is sometimes it just drops a couple of straight-up Photios shards for you, quite frankly. So sometimes you can get them like that. Whether it drops anything higher than that, I'm not sure. Maybe it does, like, the really end game, you might start seeing some Talios and Kelios shards, but for the most part, you're going to be seeing it through the crafting components. And at a casual glance, it looks goddamn impossible to get these, but you can see I've got quite a few. I made a few of these. I got 306 points in munitions. I got 306 points in defensive. I have 414 points in holy. I have an Artios shard in bonus XP, basically, is what that is in. So I will be leveling up 25% faster, one would hope, in my progression through the levels. And then that synergizes with other things, such as, I think in defensive, when you level up you gain even more health, so that's nice. I should probably put even more shards in there. If I could put a Kelios or Artios shard in there, that'd probably be pretty good. That would have some really nice synergy between those 2 buffs, and yeah, I would end up having quite a lot of health. And we could just have bonus starting health, indeed I do. So a lot of ways you can kind of synergize these things, and they're kind of cool, I like that. But yeah, how do you get more of them? How do you get more of them? Well, what we should do is we should save and quit our progress here. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's have a look at that. If we go into, you can see you've got, anytime you've got anything available to craft, it will always tell you about it. So that's sat there saying, hey, you got new things. Challenges. We have a daily, we have survival. As I say, survival is, it says right there, it's a special version of the standard campaign. You score points as you collect motes. That earns you a place on the leaderboard opposite. And you can see the week's top scores. The top player having 14 million, which is quite a lot. If you can do reasonably okay, you can see the day has just kind of begun today. The week has just begun today, so I've got 6 days and 5 hours remaining to try and place a score on this leaderboard. And you can save and quit survival mode anytime you like, so you can pick it up after. You don't have to do it all in one run. You could stop and do a bit more a little later on in the week, pick it up and do it a bit at a time. So you can do that too. What you will do is, if you score well, if you achieve these particular kind of rankings, if you are in the top 75% of players, they'll give you a whole bunch of green shards. If you manage to make it into the top 50% of players, you'll get a whole bunch of blue shards. If you make it into the top 25% of players, which is reasonably challenging, you will get 5 purple shards. That's very valuable. If you make it into the top 10% of players, which I don't think many people are going to do, but if you can, 3 Artios shards await you, along with a whole bunch of crafting components and, well, Terminescence is also a crafting component, so just a whole bunch of crafting components. So they're going to allow you to make better stuff as well. So yeah, all rewards are distributed based on the ranking at the moment the challenge ends. So even if you place in the top 50%, if a lot of people beat you over the course of the week, you might drop down to those top 75%. So you need to keep an eye on your scores, and maybe incentivizes you a little bit to try and beat your best. So there's that there. That's mostly, honestly, this is where you're going to get a lot of your rewards from. The first week I did it, I kind of placed an okay-ish score in a very short space of time on the survival, and it was just like, here, have 10 Photios shards, right off the bat. It's like, for someone who had, like, at that point, like, 1 Photios shard and a couple of white shards, it was like, oh, this changes everything. That changes the whole dynamic of the game. So we're not going to jump too much into that, or particularly at all, because it is basically just the story mode. What we've also got here is the daily challenge, though, which also comes with its own rewards. Less valuable, of course, than the weekly challenge, because, you know, it's done on a daily basis. But if you are one of the best players, you certainly have an Artios shard up for grabs every single day in this game. If you're not quite as good, certainly there's 2 Photios shards, 2 Talios shards, 2 Kelios shards, and still a bunch of crafting components available to you. And indeed, even if you just, you know, dip a toe in just to post a score on the board and it's not particularly great, you'll still earn 100 Terminescence, which is nothing to sneeze at, and 1 shard, which is, admittedly, that's just a token effort, but, you know, that's all the game is basically assuming you've made at that point. So, yeah, you get your Lithios shard. That's better than nothing. That's better than getting nothing for doing it. But yeah, I can usually, okay-ishly at this point, get into the top 50%, just about, with a good effort, and earn myself a couple of Talios shards, which is where I got quite a lot of those from. So I'm getting like 2 Talios shards each day, which is good. That's 27 power each day. No, 27 for me, that's 54 power each day, just to put into my talents. So that then carries over to the main story. In fact, you can see today I've actually managed to place top 25% somehow, which should earn me a couple of purples. That would be very, very nice. So I'll have a jump into that. So today's challenge is just, actually it's just a survival challenge. There is a timer. I think if you manage to survive the timer out, you just post your score at the end of it. But mostly it's just how high can you score before you die. So the difficulty timer is going to go up a lot faster in this particular challenge than it would under normal circumstances. You can see, yeah, the difficulty in the bottom corner is just kind of gonna tick up really fast. So I just want to get as many points as I can from as many places as I can, mostly just by killing a ton of demons and claiming their XP and opening all the chests and things. You should probably die before you get me. The motes decay from powerful motes into all these kind of the dots then picking up this XP. When the demons immediately drop them, they're quite big motes, and then after like a second or two, they immediately turn into really small ones. So while they're big, they're worth like 3 times as much. So they're worth grabbing while they're big. If you can't, obviously you still get something, but they're just like way more valuable if you can just pick them up immediately. So you kind of behooves you to be stood directly on top of the demons. Oh my god, I'm getting trounced here. There's one of them has the ability to silence you, which kind of sucks because I'd really like to be able to use my abilities against these guys. My light well just creates a beam of light that damages any demon that passes through it, and Embrace kind of... Oh, I've run out of shotgun. That's why I'm not doing much damage. I've run out of shotgun ammo. Okay, so I know up here we got this, and I got a submachine gun. Right, let's use that. Let's try and get some stuff like that. Nope, I'm dead. That was a... So I had 96,000's worth of score from the motes. That's then multiplied by your difficulty at the time of collection. So the longer you live, the more they're going to be worth, because as the difficulty increases, that's going to get more and more and more. And then apparently I get an accuracy bonus multiplier, which is really high. My score was pretty low there, but my accuracy was like really high. 100% accuracy would just multiply your score by 10. That's really where you need to be excelling, to be honest. That final multiplier is probably going to make or break where you fall on the scoreboards at the end of the day. Shotgun, I think, in this instance is actually pretty good for that, because, well, it's a shotgun. You have to try pretty hard to miss with a shotgun, he says, missing with a shotgun. It's okay. I'm not doing this for leaderboard, I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. It's fine. I'm not that bothered. So the difficulty, you can see below the difficulty meter. I don't think it's I don't know if it works here, or because it's been turned off for the challenge, or if I'm simply just not going to get a chance to show you it. Yeah, you can see there. Below the difficulty meter, there are like 6 white pips that can appear. There's some health there. I want that. Those 6 white pips are basically a measure of how fast the difficulty is increasing. If you can kill a whole bunch of demons without them hitting you at all, you'll get 1 white pip. This is clearly not happening here because I'm dying a lot, or getting hit a lot at any rate. Let's do that. That should do some nasty damage to them all. Let's get all that juicy XP. Let's get up here, kill you. Grab that, get that submachine gun, because I want them. Let's throw that down, just so everything can fly through it. Grab those. I almost feel like there's an element of strategy where if you weren't to grab the big motes, but was to just wait until the difficulty is really high, you get more points for just scoring like that. But as I say, if you can dodge the enemies, then the difficulty will ascend faster. So if you can get 6 pips, the difficulty is going to go up way faster than if you have 1 pip. And so on. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll go up and just ascend faster and faster and faster the better you can dodge attacks. I'm not dodging them very well here, and I'm not scoring very well as a consequence. But if you can just spend a while just murdering demons and not taking any damage, it ramps up your difficulty, which is basically... in a campaign, it's kind of intended to be kind of an adaptive difficulty. If you're really good at avoiding all of the enemies are going to get tougher. And they're going to throw more stuff at you. They're going to throw more complicated, more difficult to avoid attacks at you. Those giant orbs of yellow stuff that explode in a massive explosion that keep killing me a whole bunch. I don't think the demons by default have those. I think that's something they unlock as a sort of a modifier from the difficulty. They earn that ability because the difficulty's gone up. And all the demons will have their various things. I mean, that green ball that does horrible damage over time to me, that's also a really nasty one. Again, I don't think that's something demons by default have access to. I'll take that. Where are we at on the shotgun? I've still got shotgun ammo. I kind of want to hang on to that for a while. Oh, that's not a demon, that's just a demon's projectile. I'm going to get out of here and kite them back a bit. You guys can all fly through that and give me all your nice motes. Beautiful stuff. Get you. They're also going to get more health as well, because the demons that you can quite comfortably one-shot early on, those little jumping ones, kind of the basic demons. Later on in this, as the difficulty increases, they'll take... you can see they're taking 2 hits to kill now. I've got to a point where they've taken 3 hits to kill before. And, oh, I don't want to be anywhere near that. That's that huge explosion I was talking about that I don't like. And one got me. I'm not dead. I have no health. I have no health, but I'm not dead. Somehow, mercifully. The difficulty's not even very high at this point. I stepped in a beam. Great. There we go. 1.3 mil. 1.3 mil is, I think, quite close to what I managed. 1.36, so it was very close to top 25%, if not in top 25%, so... I don't know, maybe everybody's really bad at it today, or maybe less people have done it today than usual. But given that it's done on a percentage-based ranking and not on a numerical ranking, it shouldn't really matter how many people have done it today. If 100 people do it today, well, to get into the top 25%, proportionally speaking, I have to beat the same proportion of people to get there as if 10,000 people played it today. It really shouldn't make any difference whatsoever. So the fact that it's done on a percentage basis kind of balances out the, you know, over the lifespan of the game, if the player base drops, as, well, it will drop, because that's literally just how video games work. As the player base drops over time, it's not going to get harder or any harder or any easier to place on that board. You're still going to have to proportionally beat the same number of people. The thought occurs, though, that, you know, the sort of people who will play this for the long run are more likely to be able to do well. So, yeah, there you can see the little numbers by everybody's names on the top scoreboard there. That's because they prestiged a bunch, so they're clearly fairly well invested in this game. So, yeah, if we have a look at that, we do have a prestige system there, which is known as REBIRTH. This will cost you Artios shards, which would appear you are allowed to use ones that are assigned to your perks, which I didn't realise was actually a thing. But quite frankly, if you're going to prestige, it probably shouldn't matter if they're assigned to perks or not. Basically, prestige is exactly what you'd expect prestige to do. It is going to reset everything to 0 and put a little number by your account that says, hey, this person's prestiged. But you can see it also comes with a bunch of perks as well. So you're going to get 3% more damage, you're going to get 3% more health, you're going to get 20% chance that all enemies will drop a shard on death, which sounds actually pretty potent. When you consider that what you need to do to actually prestige more than once, the cost goes up dramatically each time, that seems like that's really, really useful. So in your second run through the game, as it were, you're gonna progress a lot faster, because you're going to get 20% more shards as you go through. You get a couple of graphical bonuses as well. And as you can see, that costs 5 Artios shards to be able to unlock that. So as soon as you get 5 Artios shards, you can press that button, you can get that plus 20% chance bonus. But of course that destroys all the shards you've got, it relocks everything that you've unlocked, and destroys all of your crafting equipment, and yeah, removes and destroys all shards equipped on oaths as well. So yeah, one would expect that that would be part of the shard thing, but there you go. So everything you've done, reset to 0, but you got a permanent buff on your account. To do that twice, you need to firstly have previously done it once, and to have 8 shards. Do it 3 times requires 11, then 14, and then 20 Artios shards. But by that point, there is a 100% chance that enemies will drop a shard on death. Every single enemy in the game that you kill, even those little, just the little jumping ones that take 1 or 2 bullets to actually kill, they're going to drop a shard. Every single one of those is going to drop a shard. Which, that's going to add up real fast. So you can see that somebody who has, you know, actually prestiged, rebirthed, call it what you will, 5 times, they're going to be able to fill up those talents with, like, Artios shards pretty quickly. I mean, at that point, you're not really saving the Artios shards up for anything else. So, yeah, you could probably end up sticking orange shards in literally all of your talents, and then you've also got that plus 15% damage and health as well. So, there's definitely a very real incentive to do that. That's kind of cool. So transmutation is crafting. We did have a look at this before. This is literally collect the bits from the dead demons and mash them together until they become a gun or what have you. So each of them has an upgrade level as well. So you start out creating all the basic ones. With a few crafting materials you can upgrade them to a level 2. Once you get to level 3 it starts requiring Kelios shards of you, so you're actually straight up going to have to sacrifice some of what would be going into your talents, or maybe some of your rewards from the challenges, in order to be able to make it into a Mark III gun. I would really like the pistols Mark III. The pistols are a standard sidearm that goes with in every level, and it's really useful. You know, it's your core weapon, so that's probably a priority to upgrade that one fairly early on. If I get another Kelios shard, which I should do from today's challenge, I guess I can upgrade that, but of course I need some Terminescence as well, which I'm kind of lacking at the minute. That's the big cost, as you can see. It's like 1,000 Terminescence to upgrade that. The rest of them is mostly sort of picked up as you go. The demonic matter is acquired from quite a lot of big demons. The blue whatever claw of something, it doesn't really tell me what they are, does it? Oh yeah, we can. Oh, I hadn't even spotted that this was a thing. It's a scything talon. There we go. I guess you get them from these guys. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize they were actually specifically tied to specific things that you could acquire them from. Well, there you go. So if you kill big versions of these, they will probably drop some bits of their persons that you can use to craft into things. So some of those scything talons, if I can, you can collect some of those. Demonic matter comes from, I think it was literally from pretty much anything. It can still be found on any form of demon. It's demonic matter. And the metal, as you probably saw as I was going through the levels, I was kind of dismantling a lot of the weapons into scrap metal and stuff. If you have a powerful weapon, as I say, I was running around with my level 2 assault rifle, I guess. I quite often find myself running around with the Mark II railgun as well, because I quite like the railgun. If you're running around with those weapons, then you come across, oh, you found a Mark I revolver. Well, firstly, it's worse than my current gun, and secondly, I don't actually like it as a weapon. So, guess what? If you press down on the D-pad, ta-da! It turns into 20 scrap metal, and you end up with quite a bunch of it. But as you can see, by the time you get into crafting like Mark III guns, you actually need quite a bit of it as well, so it's probably worth your while scrapping a lot of that. If you pick up too much ammunition for your guns as well, any excess ammunition automatically gets crafted to scrap metal too. So you will pick up quite a lot of that, but like your Terminescence, you're also still going to need quite a lot of it as well. So there you go. Wards are basically kind of your defensive things. These also have different tiers. You start off with like coins. You start off with amethyst coins, diamond coins, what have you. Some of them just need to be crafted, some of them you start with access to. And those will be upgraded to rings. If you upgrade them to rings, you can then get them to charms. I would fully expect there's another 2 levels as well after that, because I'm judging by the achievements, the weapons go up to tier 5 weapons, which are probably pretty expensive. I think the miracles do as well. The miracles can all be upgraded appropriately as well. So I've got the abilities I use, Lightwell and Embrace, I've got them up to tier 2. Those can go up to 3 as well. Of course, it's going to require Kelios shards again, but that will make them even more powerful. So they can go up to tier 5 as well, as can your wards. So there's a lot of progression, and it requires you to be investing some time in all aspects of the game. If you just play through the story mode, I feel like that's just going to feel frustrating because you're not getting access to all this stuff, because you're not getting enough stuff. Playing through the story mode and the story mode alone is not... It's going to take you forever to get 1,000 Terminescence. That's going to be really difficult to do. If you're doing the daily and weekly challenges, less so. You're actually going to be given a whole bunch of Terminescence every day and every week in order to be able to craft these things, and crafting is going to become a lot more accessible, which is, I think, the way the game's meant to be played. Just to play through the story mode, I think, is to play this game wrong. You need to play everything in order to see and experience the actual progression, because it is a deep, deep progression. And that's to say nothing of it's a deep progression in and of itself, to say nothing of the whole rebirth system as well. And it's really interesting, and I'm really kind of absorbed in it right now. This game's got its hooks into me quite a lot. These challenges are really satisfying to do. The game plays really nicely. I'm not good at dodging things, but you know, sometimes you can get off a good run where you just like dodge everything and get to like 6 bars at the bottom and the difficulty's cranking up because you're doing really well at this game. You're getting loads of points for it, and that's just really satisfying to do. So yeah, that's kind of a look through all of Seraph, I think, really. We had a better look at gameplay last time, so I don't think I really need to show you off a ton of the gameplay this time. I just think it's a game that's worth checking out. I think this is really worth checking out. I'm enjoying this game a lot. It's something that should definitely be on your radar to pick up at some stage. If not now, you should definitely pick it up now for my money, at any rate. So this is Seraph by Dreadbit. This came out on the 20th of September, or around-ish the time that I looked at it before. Available on Windows for £9.99 or your regional equivalent, and I do think it's very much worth a look. You should be checking this out. It's a good game. It's a good game, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Meroka. This has been Seraph. I will see you next time.